7 bad habits that are preventing you from having the life you want. The first is people pleasing. How in the world are you going to make progress if you keep putting others' needs before your own? You have to be selfish at the start of your journey, and most people hide behind people pleasing, or we may reframe it as neediness, and people think that they are being selfless when they are people pleasing. We can reframe it as neediness, right? So if you have not developed yourself or built a business or taken care of your finances to the point of not needing to actually depend on someone else for it, or not have it covered to the point of you feeling like you need something from someone else, and so you give, thinking that you're being selfless, when in fact it's just unconscious selfishness. So you need to prioritize yourself. You need to prioritize your self-interest, rational self-interest here, right? Going online and watching porn is not self-interest. That's not what you want. That is a desire that has been projected on you, and you are not able to think and make choices for yourself in order to actually, one, figure out what you want over time and iteration. And from that, what you are doing, when you develop yourself, you are not only creating something that can benefit other people better, but in order to develop yourself and, let's say, develop your finances or start a business, you are going to have to provide a product or service that gives other people what they want, hopefully in a good way, right? So that is what business is. That is why I recommend everyone to start some form of a business, no matter if it's what I teach on this channel or something else. I feel like in order to get your finances right, you need to be selfish in a good way by giving other people what they want in exchange for money. Therefore, both parties are happy, and you are able to take that money and free up stress from your mind and open up space in your mind to do bigger and better things once you solve your survival-based problems. The second bad habit is overthinking. Overthinking has killed more dreams than your morning alarm. So how do you get out of your head? How do you stop overthinking? First, you need to understand what the cause of negative thoughts are and overthinking is. It's called psychic entropy. So when your mind is not ordered, or you are not focused on a task or just reality, then your mind has the possibility for opening up room for random thoughts. And random thoughts are not half good, half bad. There is 100 bad outcomes for every one good outcome. So if I think about my health, there is good health. There's one outcome. But if I let the other random thoughts come into play, there's a plethora of diseases that come to mind. And then when I focus on those, that opens up room for 100 more bad thoughts. There's every single food that I go and look in my pantry and then read a study about how it's going to kill me or cause cancer. And so once you break focus from a task or just reality, then you allow randomness to come into your life. You allow entropy to come into your life and cause chaos in your mind. So the way out of this is either by doing what I always say and setting a goal and accomplishing tasks on a day-to-day basis, but you can't do that every single day, right? You do that at your job, you do that when you're building your business, you do that when you're at the gym or doing other things. But what about during rest? Rest is when you engage in an activity that is not detrimental to your health, like sitting on the couch or getting in a bubble bath and chugging red wine and the modern notion of self-care, right? So in this case, you engage your attention with reality. So on the breath or on the body or just on your senses or on nature, right? That's what the yogis and all of the spiritual teachers are getting at. But there's two different ways to engage your attention. There's with reality or the present moment, or there's with actually doing tasks and building a better life for yourself. So there's peace and there's progress, and anything in between is what primes your mind for overthinking. The third bad habit is avoiding risk. You don't have to take huge risks to make money or meet a man or woman, or even just start building a better body for yourself, right? Like buying a certain type of grocery. We can get into the whole discussion of whether or not eating clean is cheap or not, or if junk food and eating a bunch of crap is more expensive. It is when you do the math, and most people don't understand what is actually healthy. But aside from that, you don't have to take huge risks, right? Success is determined by the string of choices that you make on a day-to-day basis added up over time. And so every single day you are taking small risks that add up to big results. But the thing here is that you actually have to take risks. You have to hit a low. You have to get rejected. You have to try to make the sale and not make it. You have to fail, because most people aren't used to failure, and that's why they don't get anywhere. That's why they're stuck in the middle, is because their entire lives is just on repeat. And the only way to reset that is to hit a low, be aware of that low, set a goal to achieve a new high, bridge the gap with a plan and clarity, and then start executing so that life actually has zest. The fourth bad habit is a lack of focus. We talked about this briefly with overthinking, but everyone's attention is at stake. We're in the middle of a spiritual war, and everyone is out to steal your most valuable resource, which is your attention, right? There's social media brands. There's me with this video. Are you focusing on the right things right now? There's every single piece of advertising when you walk down the road that you don't think is sitting in your head subconsciously. There's every single word, idea, and conversation that you have on a daily basis that is sitting in your mind. So this is why, again, I am so big on reminding yourself of your vision, right? Your North Star, holding that in the back of your mind so you have direction and a decision filter for your daily actions. If you want to be fit, and then therefore you do the next step, which is educating yourself on how to become fit, lifelong education, so that you are on top of it and you have your pulse on the market and the education in the new material that is coming out, so that you can improve with the material that is coming out. And then from there, from an educated place, you are able to pick and choose what to give your attention to, and you understand what is good and what is bad, and you are able to eliminate the bad so it doesn't stick in your head and make you procrastinate and question the choices that you make on a daily basis. The fifth bad habit is dopamine addiction, and not the good kind of dopamine, right? Dopamine is extremely important in the actualization of your goals. It is also the modern devil in that it distracts you from your goals. So what do you do when you feel a slight sense of boredom, right? Because going back to the overthinking, you don't want those random thoughts to come into play. So you go into this downward spiral of mental turmoil. So you know that you want to engage your attention with something so that doesn't happen. So the first thing that you do is you grab your phone, rather than ground yourself in reality. So instead of becoming addicted to the things that are preventing you from seeing success, you have to become addicted to the things that will actually generate success. So going to the gym or whatever form of exercise you prefer, starting a side business, or learning, acquiring marketable skills, anything that follows the skill, challenge, match progression, right? So you have to have an ever increasing level of challenge and a skill that you can practice along the way with that challenge. So going to the gym, there is really no end to going to the gym, right? Progress slows down, but you can improve forever. And even when you can't, or you hit some form of a wall, you can choose a different method of exercise like running or yoga and start that process all over again. So you want to play infinite games where there is no hard set outcome. And instead, you need to fall in love with the endless dopamine treadmill of progress and success. So the sixth bad habit is poor health. Health impacts every single aspect of your life. If I could put these into like priorities, levels of priorities, it would be health, wealth, relationships, right? The eternal markets, not only in your life, so solving your own problems, but in business, solving other people's problems. Because with health, your energy, how you feel, how you look, how you hold yourself will determine how you build your business, how you generate income, how you attract attention for the wealth category. And then from those two, once those are developed and you've solved the superficial problems in your life in those domains, then you can attack relationships from a place of non-neediness because you've solved most of your own problems. And now you can start giving more to the world from a much more educated and enlightened place. So no more microwave dinners, no more sitting at a desk for 8 hours at a time without standing up, going on a walk, stretching, no more late nights for the sake of finishing your favorite Netflix series when it is going to destroy your sleep. Same goes with going out. When you have goals, your actions have to align with those goals or else you aren't going to achieve those goals. Hit the fucking gym. Go on 10,000 fucking steps a day. Have some discipline and let the snowball start now. So the seventh and final bad habit is a lack of application. You already know what you need to do. You've already soaked in enough information and knowledge to get started. So put your phone down, write down the 3 lever moving actions that are going to get you to your goal in whatever domain of life, health, wealth, relationships, over the next 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. And then execute, right? Start, then learn. Create a project, start building out the project. And when you encounter a specific problem, then you stop asking vague questions and you can go and ask or research or type into chat GPT a very specific question that is going to let you continue without hitting a wall in the actualization of your goals and then quitting altogether because you let randomness come into your day and then you go into this mental loop of feeling like shit and then you just stop. So that's all 7. And now many of you have probably heard these before, and I'm going to continue to make some of these more basic videos here and there just because, one, views, they get a lot of views. I'm hoping maybe this one won't and I'll eat my words, but at the same time, I feel like it's very important that we are all reminded of the things that are important. We have to be reminded more than we need something new because we can't hold everything in the top of our mind all day long, every single day. We all have a few ideas that we're holding up there, top of mind, at every given hour of the day. And so being reminded of these allows you to continue filtering and cycling through the good ideas that will bring you towards your goals. So with that, if you want to learn a new skill, writing, that has not only built my brand, built many others' brands, it's how my business runs, is on writing. Arguably the most valuable skill you could learn in my eyes. So you can check out To Our Writer, links in the description for that. There's also masterclass, digital economics on how to productize yourself. So everything branding, marketing, product, and promotions. And then there's a free power planner. There's other things. Be sure to subscribe. Have a good day. That's it. See ya.